guys, and welcome to my next monthly chat video. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to you guys for, letting me do this a little bit late. It just helped out a lot. It was funny because when I had 2 days left. I think it was close. It was like 2 days left before I had to get on a plane to go to New York, and it was like Christmas Day. It's literally a blur. And I was editing like there was no tomorrow. Just kept happening. It was just like a mess. And then I realized, I realized that, I still had to film the monthly chat videos. I still had to film Batman, and which, just takes time. And then, uploading it and all of that stuff that takes time as well. And I was like, oh my God, I have no time. Because not only that, I didn't pack for New York. I didn't wrap gifts for people. Like, I was like feeling beyond overwhelmed. So I really appreciate that. And I think it worked out pretty good, so you guys could see the rest of my reactions for the year before this video, so that it worked out great. Okay, so I'm just gonna get right into it, and I believe I'm gonna start with The Walking Dead. And I don't believe I have any questions for that. What am I covering? 807 and 808. Okay, so obviously I do weekly chats for The Walking Dead, so you guys know a lot of what I have to say about things. However, the difference between the weekly chats for The Walking Dead and the monthly chats here are honestly just the fact that, like, I can be a little unedited here. I can kind of talk very candid to you guys, whereas I feel like in the weekly chats, when I put something to YouTube, I try not to be as I don't like making waves and starting arguments in my comment section and stuff. So I'm going to talk, the majority of this monthly chat is actually going to be about the decision to kill off Carl. There's a lot of people who think that he was bit by a whisperer. That would be interesting, but I don't think that that's the case. I feel like he's done. I feel like they've announced and confirmed, so, Anyway, there was so much drama surrounding it, and I have very particular opinions about it. Okay, so I don't even know where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with just the show. Let's take all of the external factors out of it. Let's talk about just the show. The show killing off Carl is probably, and I did mention this in my weekly chat, is probably a strange thing. I mean, honestly, when you think about, I don't think it has as many consequences now in the story as we're thinking it's going to have consequences later on. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's kind of the thing that sort of I think people are upset about. Like, now I don't think it particularly matters if Carl is alive or dead. And if Carl is your favorite, I'm very sorry for saying that, but I just think that he's not that integral to the plot. However, whenever I think of the ending of The Walking Dead, I think of Rick and Carl and them together. Everyone else fades away, when I think of kind of the last shot or the last whatever. So I do understand the concern that a lot of fans have that, like, it's not, there's issues with it. I can't put it another way. So that's going to be kind of interesting to kind of see where they're going to go with it and where is this all ending up. Is interesting. So now I'm going to talk about the other stuff. So if you guys are unaware of, you know, everything that went on with Chandler's father went to Facebook and said that he never trusted Scott Gimple, and he said that, you know, Chandler bought a house. I don't know if he said that or there were rumors. Here's the thing. A lot of times you get fed not the correct information. And so, you know, they're saying like he bought a house and he was planning to go to school and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Here's a couple of things that I want to say about that. I personally think that if you're on a show like The Walking Dead, even if you are Carl, you should be prepared at some point to possibly be getting killed off. And there are things floating around saying that he said that he was going to have, you know, however many more years, definitely, but it didn't work out. It's so funny because you're just getting little bits and pieces of information of what actually went down. So, how I think it kind of, here's the, I have no idea what they were planning on doing. But the whole 18th birthday really sticks out. And I wouldn't be surprised, I'm not saying this is what happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, Chandler and his agent wanted, or whoever negotiates these things, wanted a lot more money. And maybe they wouldn't budge. Okay, bye. You know, like I think, and I don't know if that's what happened, but it wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened where, and there's so many people who are like, well, give him more money because he's very valuable. And I agree with that. But the thing is that there's such a limited budget for the show that All Out War is like really difficult to pull off for the show anyway. There are so many actors. There's not just, you know, let's think back at like season 5 or season 4, whatever, and how many actors the show had to pay. Now think about how many actors the show needs to pay. And, you know, I'm sure Andrew gets a big chunk and Norman gets a big chunk, and we have the core, we'll call them the Rick group, you know, like the core Rick group. We have people in the Kingdom. We have people at the Sanctuary. We have people at Hilltop. And not to mention all of the stuff that needs to go into sets and action shots and all of this stuff to pull off All Out War. I'm not saying this is what happened, but it just, that in my mind is kind of like the thing that I'm like, well, maybe somebody was really demanding a lot of money and the show just couldn't. Now, I don't know if that's Scott Gimple's decision or AMC's or anything like that. Okay, so that's one possibility of how it kind of went down. It's weird. I think and I said this in my weekly chat, I'm not going to decide how I feel about this until we see it play out. I know that there's a lot of people who really don't particularly care for The Walking Dead anymore. I'm obviously not one of those people. I trust the writers. So I'm gonna follow it through and see, well, what are you trying to tell? You know what I mean? And it's possible that this decision could have been made without external factors of stuff like that, and it could have just been a decision that was being made. I mean, don't buy a house when you're on a show with zombies that eat people. I know, I'm so insensitive in that scenario, but I think there was just so much backlash, and it sounds so strange to me how there can be so much backlash in defense of him. And I love Chandler, and I don't, first of all, let's just be clear, I'm not entirely sure I'm all about this decision. I really don't know if this is the right thing to do. But, you know, maybe it was something that they decide, I want to see where they go with it before I start. I mean, and there's just so many factors that we don't know. This is a bigger thing than just The Walking Dead, but I feel like people are really, really quick to get out their pitchforks with everything. I think that people are pretty spoiled when it comes to entertainment. There's so many avenues to get it that if something doesn't go exactly how they want it to, then they are so mad and they're gonna be so protesting. You know what I mean? And whenever that happens, I kind of just have a moment of like, oh boy. Me personally, I personally really enjoy Scott Gimple's writing. Everybody's calling for him to be fired. It's like this whole thing. But I like his writing. I like when he took over, well, he wrote some episodes in I think it was season 2 and season 3. I think he wrote Clear. I just loved it. I loved him, and I was like, oh, he really gets into the nitty gritty of what's going on with the characters, like deep down in their soul, and I love it. And then he wrote season 4, and I don't know how much I've talked about this before, but season 4 of, sorry, I'm fixing my hair, of The Walking Dead is the season of any television show that made me fall in love with TV in that sense. This channel, anything that I've done is thanks to the 4th season of The Walking Dead. And a very large portion of that is because of Scott Gimple and his writing and his vision of how he wrote season 4. So, I just felt like saying that. It's so weird because I don't really know where they're going with it. And I feel like I just have to sit here and be like, okay, I trust you, but that was really something jarring. Killing Carl is I think finding one of the more interesting characters. And again, like I said, it's not, I think he's interesting in the long run. Maybe not right now, but he's really important in the long run. So I think I'm having a hard time trying to like kind of see where they're going with this. I can't wait till the mid-season premiere. I'm feeling I'm gonna cry my eyes out. I want an emotional, I don't even know what between Carl and Rick. I want something. And I don't know. I think there's something so very heartbreaking about it, and for us, really, I feel like Carl is the driving force of Rick. And every single thing he does, you can kind of tell that his actions are really kind of all for a future for Carl. So if we don't have that, then what do we have for Rick's character, who is kind of one of the most important? I don't know. It's not even like, and I'm like so interested in watching the next episode, but I'm definitely interested in watching The Talking Dead after, because I think Chandler's going to be on that. And I think maybe we'll get a little bit more insight into stuff. I don't know. there's so much stuff. But I wanted to just chat about that and just get like kind of my thoughts out. Moving forward, we still have more war. We still have more, just a lot of stuff to go through. That's going to be interesting to say the least. Yeah, so I think shit's going to go down at the hilltop for sure. I really want to see what's going to happen with Ezekiel, and I want to see what's going to happen with Morgan moving forward, and if he's going to save Ezekiel. Is he going to die? You guys can let me know what you think about that, if you think Morgan is not going to make it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think a lot of, yeah, it's just going to be a really interesting second half of the season. And, yeah, I don't know. There's really a big part of me that is just trying to make sense of the Carl decision. And I'm not somebody who is very quick to get my pitchfork when it comes to stuff like that. But I am skeptical of that decision. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for the most part, because obviously I talk in my weekly chats about The Walking Dead a lot. So, okay, so now I am going to talk about The Punisher. So, seen 4 episodes of The Punisher now. I don't believe I have any questions for that either, which is fine. So there has been 4 episodes, and I've loved it. I'm actually doubling up on Punisher this next week coming up, watching. You'll still be getting it like once a week, but because of the fact that I just whenever I watch it, whenever I'm recording the reactions, I'm like, I want to watch the next one. Like, I can't tell you guys how jealous I am of you guys that you guys get to like just sit and just watch a show. And I love my channel, but like sometimes, and I think The Punisher I really felt it with, because I think they're doing a really good job with the characters. Just, oh my god, I don't even know what to say about The Punisher other than, okay, so I really love all of the characters involved. That's what's really cool about The Punisher for me, is that, like, I'm intrigued by everybody. We have Frank, who is already my favorite Marvel Netflix character. Close second is Ben. But I really, really loved Frank. And he made Daredevil Season 2 for me. Some people said Elektra did, but girl, bye. No, it was Frank. Sorry. I never understood the Elektra thing. Am I the only one? I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't particularly care. Anyway, I think probably like my least, and it's not that I don't like her, but my least, like, I'm not as intrigued with like Karen. Like in this show. His friend, I'm forgetting names. It's been a second since I've watched it. Curtis, I want to say, his friend that hosts the group. I like him. The kid who's dealing with PTSD is making me emotional. That scene where he shot at his... This show does like a real... I feel like this show does a great job of like... they're showcasing what kind of like burdens you can carry and the problem with the problem with like that kid is so young, you know what I mean? That I feel like they did a perfect casting for that kid just because he's young, and you can tell that he's impressionable, and you can kind of like see like how did he sign up in the first place. And it's no secret that I'm a military wife, so, and a lot of times I do see especially like the young kids who just enlist, that they don't entirely know what they're getting themselves into. I mean, it's not, I don't think they lie, you know, or like the government or the recruiters or anybody lies about what. But I think even if somebody like tells you the truth, if you're so, there are very appealing things about the military. There's pay for the time that you're in it. There's some stuff that's you get regarded as a hero. There's something, I don't know if this is the same in other countries, but there is something about the air of being a soldier, that you're a strong person and you're regarded in a good sense. And there's just appealing things. And then it can help you get into school. It can help you make steps to a better life. I think that's true. And, you know, like, I don't think that that's like a lot or anything, but I do think that you also have to be kind of proactive in it. It's not going to just like fall in your lap. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like there's so many young soldiers that don't know that. And then they go over, and if they see combat in that sense, they get some issues. And, you know, obviously I haven't gone through this, but I understand. I've seen things, little small things, and I think the show is doing a really, really good job of especially with this character, taking that and saying, look what can happen. And just that scene, there's something about like when he shot and his dad like came and hugged him and said, I'm okay. Like I was really emotional for me, because these things are just like so, it's just sad. It's just really sad. And I think about like the people who do actually, you know, like sign up and put on that uniform, and that they sometimes unknowingly and sometimes knowingly, you know, risk, I feel like, a part of themselves to, you know, serve the country and serve people. That makes me really sad. And I like that we're seeing kind of different veterans, you know, and we see it like Curtis, who kind of really got his shit together, even though he, you know, his leg got blown off and stuff. I hope his name is Curtis and I'm not like saying the wrong name. But you know what I'm talking about. So, I really like Lieberman, or Micro. And I like his kind of family and that dynamic, and I really want them to like reunite and love each other. Like, I really want that to happen. That's the emotional, sappy side of me. Sorry, I'm just getting comfortable. But yeah, so like I like that, and it's just been amazing. I like the cops. The two cops are great. Or are they federal agents? I don't think they're just cops. But the woman and her partner, I'm sorry, lacking on their names, sorry. But I really like them, and I kind of like the relationship that they're building up between them. And the guy, well, I don't know if I trust him, but the guy who's kind of like that, you know, starting that whole business, and for me so far, the best episode has been episode 3 with the flashbacks, and I normally don't like flashbacks, but just seeing the stress of all of that get played out was really kind of cool. And just seeing all of that I don't know. I think, and seeing that kind of final scene where, you know, Frank is losing it, and the other guy's like, you know, I got to get out because I don't want this to define me, so to speak. I can't get enough of this show, and I have a feeling I will get broken by it, especially if they kind of still touch on these things that like soldiers have to endure. I think I will possibly have a mental breakdown on the couch. But great for your reactions, you know what I mean? Like I swear, every time I get super emotional, I always see that silver lining. Like, oh, people love this. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I'm really excited to kind of see what's going to happen with that. So, yeah, that's kind of like the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with The Punisher. And I can't wait to continue. I think it's going to be really good. And I think it's already my favorite Marvel Netflix series. Not my favorite Marvel show. That is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. See with my segue? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, so we are in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I technically wrote on my December monthly chat questions, I have the thing pulled up right here, that it was 501 to 506, or 505, but I've just seen 506, so guess what? We're gonna do that one too, I guess. Again, I don't think I have any questions for my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. chat, so I'm just going to talk about what I think of this season so far. What I love about S.H.I.E.L.D. that I feel like I've talked about this a bit before, but like, if you, in all honesty, when I started watching S.H.I.E.L.D., especially after season 2, a lot of people love season 2, but it was not my favorite thing ever. It seemed so insanely about Daisy, who I've grown to like a lot more, but she's still, like, if I had to rank like the main character, she'd still be on the bottom. I'm not the biggest fan of Daisy. I think she's gone through, she had a couple of moments that I absolutely love, and I think she's badass. But it was one of those things where I thought it was like going to turn into Daisy of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it was starting to really concern me when I was watching it. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of ensemble casts, and when they can use every character and flesh out every character really well, I'm a big fan of that, and I think S.H.I.E.L.D. does that amazing. That's where I was going with this. I really liked that, you know, when I thought at the end of season 2, like, oh, it's going to be all about Daisy, and again, and we're just going to key it, so we might as well call it Daisy of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, and then I think like the first half of season 3 was probably like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, like, set of episodes ever. I thought it was brilliantly done, and everybody got their story told. Because I'm not a big fan of shows that kind of take characters that are really, really rich and wonderful and throw them away. And I feel like this first half of this season so far has kind of been similar to that, where, you know, you're kind of like, ugh. You're seeing, a lot of people were seeing Yo-Yo get fleshed out pretty well. We've seen her, it's been gradual, but it's been great. Mac has just been amazing, his arc. And I like the idea of taking these agents and sticking them in a really foreign territory, because they're starting to get really good, and I think they did that with the last, you know, putting them in the framework and stuff. They're starting to get really good at what they do. So just the whole, like, we're gonna be S.H.I.E.L.D. and save people or whatever, I feel like they need to up the ante every, you know. I love that they put them in space and put them with the Kree. This is a challenge. I'm starting to get really emotional about the fact that it seems like a couple of people are dying, and I feel like they're gonna have to cope with that as well. What else do I want to touch on? I do not really believe that Daisy is the destroyer of worlds. Yeah. I don't know if that's like a thing that we're supposed to just accept, but I don't believe that to be true. It would be interesting if it was the kid. That just came to me, the kid who just got his powers. Maybe he makes like a big rock and just... Well, he would have to travel back in time. Not impossible with this show. But you know, oh my god, Monkey Down! Oh, when did that happen, guys? Oh my god. Whew. Lord. I don't know. Obviously, doing the whole, like, really sweet marry me between Fitz and Gemma was really, really sweet in this last episode, and I feel like Fitz and Simmons, I mean, it's been a long road, and we might as well just get here, right? I mean, God, it has been a long road. I have a feeling the 100th will be them getting married. That will be a scene in the 100th episode, and I think that that's fitting, and yeah. I don't think that's all that it's going to be, but I believe that the wedding may happen on the 100th. And now, I wonder if they're going to be in space the whole season. I don't know if you guys know or not, or anything. I try not to look up stuff. But that would be kind of interesting if they are in space the whole season. And I wonder what you guys think if it's going to tie in with Infinity War. I gotta say, the season is slotted, barring if we miss a week or two, to end kind of right before Infinity War comes out. I've been making my schedule for the next few months. I normally do a few months at a time, and I think I have gone like up to April with my schedule, and I was kind of like, that's interesting, because it's like towards the end of April, I think, that S.H.I.E.L.D. is gonna yeah. Anyway, I just think that's kind of interesting, and I don't know if they're going to have a tie-in. I feel like they will, but, you know, like, S.H.I.E.L.D's been kind of neglected a bit when it comes to that. So, yeah. I want May to be okay. May's such a boss. May's such a boss. Here's how I feel about this. And I think one of the reasons maybe I'm not, like, I got a lot of shit in my, is it season 3? I believe it was season 3 finale reaction. I lost, like, so many subscribers because I was not feeling emo Daisy, as I called her. And she did that thing where she, like flew up into the air, and she, like, quakes the ground and jumps, and I don't know what it is, but I do not get impressed with, like, powers. Sometimes I can think that they're cool, but it's not a basis for me to really like a character just because they have powers. Do you get what I'm saying? And I much prefer characters that are trained really well. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, my favorite Avenger is Hawkeye. I like Hawkeye, but you know, his personality as well. But, like, when it comes to abilities, I'm just like, oh, he's just really... I don't know if he has anything. We really haven't gotten too much into his backstory, nor do I think we ever will. And I have a feeling we're losing him in Infinity War. Just because... it's my favorite, so he'll probably die first. But there's something about just being a really skilled person that I love. And that's why, if, like, for some reason, if Daisy and May ever fought, like, besides the season 2 thing, which that pissed me off anyway, like, I would want May to, like, get her, because I love somebody who's just so trained, and that's why I love May, and I feel like May, fighting-wise, is just such a vital asset, and I love, 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 love her, and I always root for her, because she's just so well trained. I felt that way about Ward too. I loved Ward for other reasons. I just found him fascinating. But like, I just felt like they were just two really great trained people. It was really cool. And I really liked. And I love watching May this season. Like, and I love that it's just a great showcase. I feel like episode after episode showing how fucking awesome she is. I would also like her and Phil to bang at some point. Can we just get that to happen? I know. We had to wait a really, really long time for like a Fitzsimmons kiss. And technically we got like a Felinda kiss, but not, I mean, you know, but let's be real. I want feels between Melinda and Phil pronto. Ugh, anyway, so there's that. What else? I'm just really excited. I don't know if there's much else that I want to talk about, but it's been great every single episode, and it always is. I am kind of worried, you know, a lot of people are saying, like, is this the last season? I don't think the Friday slot is doing it any favors, though. I know ABC tried to, like, rebrand the Friday slot and say, like, you know, we're gonna do a sci-fi fantasy night or whatever. I just don't think it's doing them any favors, and it's just a weird time to premiere the show, like in December when everybody's kind of dealing with holiday stuff, and especially, you know, weekends on December, I mean, are times where you're all going to holiday parties and stuff like that, so you don't really have time to really be sitting and watching TV on Friday nights. So it's a little frustrating that it's like they're giving them a 5th season but not really doing too much with it. All I gotta say about that is if they do end up like ending S.H.I.E.L.D., if they like end S.H.I.E.L.D. but bring another like really shitty Marvel show like in its place, or like try to pull another Inhumans or something. I actually haven't seen Inhumans, so I can't really talk, but I've heard it was nothing to write home about. But anyway, that's all I'm saying. That's some bullshit, because these people are amazing and I love S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe if it got canceled, Netflix would pick it up. That would make me happy. Anyway, so that's about it. And now I'm going to talk about Stranger Things. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about Stranger Things for a little bit, just about like how I feel about it, and then I'll answer some questions, because I did get some questions on Stranger Things. So, how do I feel about Stranger Things? I feel like great second season. A lot of people were not loving the like 207, the one that was kind of all about Elle. I still call her Elle and not really Jane. You know, like I feel like that was kind of like a lot of people really disliked that. I didn't hate that, and I feel like that episode's going to become really important as time goes on. But it wasn't my favorite, but it was fine. Like, I didn't mind it. I feel like I do understand the sentiment of, like, it kind of took a break from stuff, so that kind of sucks. There was, like, a big cliffhanger, and then, like, we're watching Elle for an episode go to, I believe it was Chicago. Like, a whole thing. I don't know if I trust her sister. Yeah. Things that I liked, Steve was great, and his relationship with Dustin was really good. Lucas and Max were really cute. I really liked that, and I liked a nice focus on Lucas. I thought that he had a decent season. Her brother can go suck several dicks and get, like, beaten with a hammer. That's how I feel about him. Yeah, so it's, you come for Lucas, you come for my heart and soul. Yeah, so, I mean, I really am not the biggest fan of his. And that scene was so cringy. A lot of people said that they thought that it was funny, but the one between her brother and, like, Mike's mom. I was like, God, let this end. Like, it was terrible. What I love is, like, all aspects of this show are kind of really interesting. Like, even, you know, with Nancy and Jonathan trying to figure out justice for Barb in some sense, you know, the kids and their kind of issues that they're dealing with, which, you know, they're able to take kind of like a good mix of kind of like real life kid issues that are always kind of blown out of proportion when they're kids, versus, you know, like Demogorgons and stuff. Good mix of both of those. And then everything with kind of Hopper and what he's doing, and then everything with Will. Noah needs an Emmy. He's really good. I really liked him in this season, and I don't know if they knew that he could really pull that off the way he did, or if it was a surprise. It was very, very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna look at some of these questions that I got. Okay. Jennifer Diaz asks, how do you feel this season compares to the first, and where would you like to see the show go in season 3? I think this season was better than the first, but there was also some things in the first that I feel like I really enjoyed as well. I felt like I was missing a bit of the whole 11 with the group of kids. Like the kid feels of this season, I feel like weren't as strong because of the fact that we just didn't have them together as much. So that's something I feel like I kind of missed, and I really loved. But there was also like so many things that I like. You know, Steve went high up on the list, and I liked a lot of aspects of this season. I think this show does a really, really good job of kind of giving you enough, but not everything. We don't know everything about the Upside Down, you know, but we know enough, and they're not telling you, you know, they're not like withholding information, but they're also, you know, teasing a season 3, and I like that. Where would I like to see the show go in season 3? More kid interaction. Like I said, I would like to see Hopper fuck some shit up. You know, I feel like eventually it will build up to kind of a bigger, I don't want to say war, but confrontation, whatever you want to call it, with the Upside Down, and maybe more of an explanation of really what the Upside Down is. I feel like we will get a bit of, you know, finding out more about 11 and her siblings and where she came from and stuff like that. I feel like we'll get a heavier dose of that, which will be interesting. So I think that that'll be kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, I would mostly say that stuff is probably what I most look forward to moving on. And I kind of want, listen, don't get me wrong. Bob was great. Bob was sweet. Bob was everything, and that was sad. And he was really trying to, I mean, save everyone, and it was just so sweet, and he's so cute. But I kind of would like Hopper and Joyce to kiss. Yeah, kiss. I would like that to happen, please. More Hopper and Elle, because they're adorable. And I feel like we were a little deprived of Mike and Elle, and I'm not all about Mike and Elle like some people are. I love them. I think they're cute, but I think some people are like, oh my god. It's funny, I got in my reaction, like on the YouTube version, everybody's like, why didn't you show Mike and Elle kissing? And the funny thing was, is like, if you watch my full of that reaction, I didn't, like, I had a problem, and like, in that scene, I was explaining stuff, and then, like, so I couldn't include it in my YouTube reaction. People get so mad. But I don't even know if that would have made the cut, because that episode had so much in it, and it's like, I don't know. I just didn't think, like, I mean, it's cute, but anyway. Yeah, more Dustin and Steve as well. That would be good. Okay, so I think... okay, so, just ask about two things. This is from Dave Hampton, and did you catch, and were you into the meta moment with Lucas and Mad Max, when she was talking about how the story seemed derivative? No, I didn't catch that. I'm just being honest. No, I didn't really. I guess I should rewatch that scene. In the finale, you can let me know what you're talking about. No, I didn't. But sometimes you miss things when you're talking during a reaction or something like that. I try to talk when people aren't talking and stuff, and do pride myself on being pretty good at that, but sometimes I do still miss stuff. So, no, I did not notice that. Kind of the writer shooting back at the audience about season 1. I have no idea what you're talking about. So please let me know, because I have no idea. It's also been a little while since I've seen it. Maybe I did notice. I don't know. Maybe not. 2, what did you think of the hotel room scene with Nancy and Jonathan? Her saying she waited before going back with Steve. Him saying Will needed him. Well, it's so funny because, I mean, I think that's so very true. You know, the Byers family just went through so much. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't even know what else to even say about that. Is that, like, and I feel like Jonathan and his relationship with Will is just one of my favorite parts of the show. And their, like, moments that they have together are just so sweet. That's another thing that I would really like more of for season 3. So I feel like that's a, you know, and it was interesting. Here's how I feel about Nancy and Jonathan. Neither are really my favorite characters. However, I do think that they do have a very deep connection, and she has a deeper connection with him than she does with Steve. I think Steve is probably the better character out of all 3 of them, but you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely a deeper connection. I kind of liked that they did get together in that sense. But it is interesting because that's kind of, life happens. You know what I mean? Life sort of, and sometimes that does get in the way of, like, stuff like that. And yeah. I really enjoyed this whole season, and the last 2 episodes were fucking phenomenal. Like, my goodness. It's crazy. So, yeah. Do we know, let me know in the comments, if we know anything about season 3, if it's coming back, but I feel like I heard maybe not until 2019. I don't know, or maybe late 2018. But anyway, I'm kind of really excited to, watch more and get more Lucas, because Lucas is my favorite. I could have killed that motherfucker. Put his hands on Lucas. That was the #1 thing, by the way. This is a side note. That was the #1 thing that pissed me off so much. Here's the thing. This is why I love Lucas. Lucas is not afraid, okay? He will get shit done, okay? And, you know, like, when, you know, like, he's, the first season, he just wanted to find Will, and he was not all about all of this other bullshit that was going on. And so when he felt like Elle was deceiving them, he was like, bitch, what are you doing? Okay, he didn't say that, but you know what I mean? And then, like, he is always there, like, ready with his rock and, like, I'm gonna fuck everybody up. And that scene where asshole, what the hell is his name? Billy? Did I make that up? Whatever. That motherfucker put his hands on Lucas. These 3 motherfuckers over here just sitting there. Just sitting there. You know, if the roles were reversed, Lucas would have been on the back and like trying to beat the fuck out of him. And these three are like, no, don't do it. See, this is what you get in these monthly chats. You get my unedited opinions about this stuff. I was literally like, what the fuck? Three Stooges, Mo, Larry, and Curly over here are not fucking doing shit. I kind of understand Max because she's I have a feeling has been like hit by him before, and it was probably not pleasant, and she really like went nuts after it. But yeah, anyway, that's my rant. Okay, so now I'm going to go into Doctor Who, which I have so many questions. So I think I'm just going to answer questions and not like chat like I normally do, just because there's so many. Okay. So, from K Banks, so these are a few questions. First one, what was your favorite video to make for Doctor Who December? Oh Lord, what was my favorite video to make? It would have been the one that I had to cut. I had to cut one, if you guys didn't know. There was one video and I just replaced it with, what did I replace it with? I can't remember. Clara and the TARDIS. And I had to rearrange the whole schedule because the one that I had to cut was supposed to come out towards the end of the month. And it was just physically impossible for me to get it done. There was no way that I could do it. I probably could have pulled it off at the time that I had I not been doing 30 other videos. But just because of that, no way. And I was like really sad about it because it was the one that I was really kind of like really looking forward to. I'll probably still do it at some point, but anyway. So, I had a couple of backup like minisode / like episode like video ideas, and I said, well, I'll get rid of that and I'll just watch Clara and the TARDIS, and that'll be like my kind of extra one that I do. So, and I had to rearrange everything. What a mess. So it probably would have been that one, but otherwise, I mean, towards the end of the month, it was all of the ones that were really short. So it was easier to edit. I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of fun during like Day of the Doctor and stuff, so maybe that, but you know. Yeah, I would probably say that, or something like that. One of the episodes that I felt like I had just like a really fun time with. I really liked the trailer, the first day one. That was really cool too. And I had a lot of fun like putting together the like 11 times 11 made me love the Doctor. I like that one as well. Which video were you the most nervous about posting for Doctor Who December? Well, the cooking, the Jammy Dodger video was, I had some issues with that video. I lost about like a fourth of the footage for it. And so, and some of the footage didn't come out correctly. But you can't really tell that until afterward. And there was like a glare throughout the whole video, and then I edited the whole thing. I had like 2 last bits, and then I lost the whole edit. And I mean, I was also just nervous about the fact that I was like, oh God, like what if nobody likes it? Like, what if nobody gives a fuck? And I kept trying to tell myself, like, you're doing 31 videos, like, fuck anybody who doesn't give a shit about, like, one video or whatever. But, yeah, so I would say that was probably one. I think I was just frustrated by the end of it. Like, once I got it edited, I was like, ugh. I was nervous about the river challenge, but that was more so I was nervous about editing it. And once I edited it, I felt like I edited it okay. It took me like 3 days to edit though, and I only reserved like 1 day, so that's why I got really kind of stressed at the end of that. I mean, anything that I felt like wasn't what people really wanted. I did love the random. I got like a couple of comments of like, sorry, I'm a little tired. I did love the random comments of people being like, that's not a Doctor Who December. It's like, what do you mean? I made it up. It can be whatever I want it to be. Like, I made up Doctor Who December. Anyway, but, you know, like, I was nervous about doing classic for a week because I knew people would complain, and, like, the minisodes and whatever, you know? I mean, I think I was nervous almost every day posting stuff. So, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Were you surprised, good or bad, about the reactions to any of the videos? For the most part, everything was really good. There were a couple comments or like an annoying whatever comment here and there about like, this isn't the video I wanted, and it's like, well, you have 30 other videos to enjoy. Go fuck yourself. Sorry if you're one of those people who said that, but like, I'm not really that sorry. I put a lot of work into it, and I feel like I was really nervous, you know, just starting it all off and even announcing it and stuff like that, because I was really nervous that it would all backfire and people would be like, well, I don't want any of these videos, I just want the 2 reactions. But to that, I should probably just say, I mean, it's my channel, I can do what I want. And if I didn't do all of those videos, everything would have been, I think, 1 week off. You wouldn't have gotten the bigger reactions sooner. I think by a week you would have gotten them sooner, but that's it. So, but people don't know that. But things were really good. Everybody really, really enjoyed it for the most part. I was surprised about, I thought maybe people would hate like the countdown videos, and I actually think the RTD era one did better than I thought it would, because I was like, I thought it was a cool idea, but I was like, oh my god, people are gonna be like, what the I don't care. But I feel like everybody was kind of making their own list, which that was really cool. The reading one, I was like, people are gonna be like, what the fuck? But I felt like I could get away with it because it was on Christmas Day and everybody's busy, you know, or like this special was coming out later, so yeah. So I think that like, I think it went really well for the most part, and yeah, I'm very proud. Very tired, but I'm very proud. I definitely need a break right now, and I didn't realize how much I needed a break, because it was like I was doing for Doctor Who December like until like right until I had to go see family for a few days. And when I went to New York, it was fun and it was great and I had a blast, but I did not really like sleep and or like I didn't have any downtime. So as soon as I got back here, I can't tell you, as soon as I drove back here from the airport, which is actually like an hour and a half away, so like my plane landed and I got in my car and I drove here, and as soon as I got into these, I was so, it's like my body finally let me feel exhausted from this whole month, and I like could not leave my bed if I wanted to. I'm a little bit better now, but I'm still taking kind of my days. I love that when I say I'm taking days off, I'm still recording S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm still recording this. I'm still recording Batman. Oh, my week off. Like, ugh, I have issues. Okay. And yeah, but the reactions were all, I don't even know why I started talking about that, but the reactions were really, really good. So I put a lot of hard work into it, and I was really, really happy. And I'm so happy that I was able to pull it off. I am very upset that I had to nix one of the ideas, but it happened. You probably wouldn't have known the difference, but it would have been really cool. So good. It was so good. All right. And number 4, not a question per se, but just want to give a shout out to Rocco. Can he get a cameo appearance? I don't think so. Rocco! Boo-boo! I doubt it. He's sleeping and he's like, ugh. Unless you're gonna give me food, there's no reason to move. He's upstairs though. Okay, so Firefly 24601 got asked, what was the most unexpected, surprising thing you learned in the Doctor Who movie and in the Daleks? Did you learn anything that confirmed what you have had previously suspected? Okay, so what was the most unexpected of the Doctor Who movie and the Daleks? Well, this is not really a thing that I guess was unexpected, but I think there's definitely a part of me that was like a little worried about going back and watching Classic Who because of the fact that it is such a big like time, age, whatever you want to call it, like difference from me. And I was like, what if I don't like bond with any of the characters? But I really liked Ian and Barbara a lot, so that was really kind of cool, and I really liked them. I thought they were really cool, and so I thought that was slightly unexpected. I didn't expect to actually really enjoy the characters. I also did not know that you could just climb into a Dalek, like Ian did, so that was kind of interesting. The Doctor Who movie, was there anything that was kind of gross? Like, there were some scenes that I really had a hard time with because they were really gross. Doctor Who movie. Let me think. I mean, the whole master thing, though it got explained to me, so you don't have to explain it again. But the whole master thing was weird. I was like, what the fuck? Why is he a goopy snake? Yeah. I enjoyed the Doctor Who movie. It was what it was, you know? It was kind of, cool. Found out about, like, the 13, lives, regenerations, or I guess 12 regenerations, but 13 versions. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. It's possible they said it before, but I felt like that was the first time I heard that. Okay, so Joseph Wilger, God, I butcher names so much during these videos. It's so embarrassing. I'm sorry. My question would be, which 50th anniversary did you enjoy the most? I would assume Time of the Doctor doesn't count. It's like An Adventure in Space and Time, Day of the Doctor, and like the Five-ish Doctors. Is that accurate? Day of the Doctor. That moment in An Adventure in Space and Time was pretty awesome, though. I really, really enjoyed that. But Day of the Doctor was just, I felt like a whole lot of awesome going on, and it was happy, and I was not expecting it to be happy. I was expecting to cry, and it was a really joyous episode, which I feel like is hard to pull off, so I really enjoyed that. Which had the most emotional impact? I mean, again, if time is included, then time, for sure, like, absolutely. But the moment in An Adventure in Space and Time, and I wrote a little blurb about it when I talked about my favorite moment of the week, would be that if time is not included. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. Which explained the most about the history of the Doctor? Interesting. Huh. I don't know. I mean, I would say An Adventure in Space and Time, but that was more so about the show. But I think that in turn, it did explain the heart of the show with, you know, change and regenerations. And I think that actually was kind of the best representation of it. And it was really, yeah, I would probably say maybe that, weirdly, sort of. Michael Starling asks, I'm not sure if you've recorded Time of the Doctor yet. Well, which did you find more upsetting out of Amy's exit or the ending of Time of the Doctor? More upsetting out of those two. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay, but I mean, they're both upsetting, but for, I feel like different, like, Amy and Rory's exit is more upsetting because it was the first jab. I was on cloud 9 before that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really just like, la la la, life is great. And it got followed by like fucking dinosaurs on spaceships and like the Old West, like two of my favorite things of all time. And my like my babies, and then River was there and I was so excited. They were in New York and I was so excited, and then I got sucker punched in the face. I feel like that, like, I was really devastated for that. Now, the reason that Time of the Doctor, the ending of that, was devastating, again, I did get hit like a ton of bricks. However, I did know that Matt was probably leaving at some point soon. I was curious whether it was like halfway through season 8 or if it was going to be, like, I didn't really know when, but I had a feeling that that was actually going to happen. So, yeah. But what's sad about that, and why I would say I probably would pick Amy and Rory just because I was so blindsided. What I will say about that and why that's really emotional for me was that meant it's the end of the only era of Doctor Who that I really, really loved. Did not connect with 10, though I did connect with Companions with 10, and I did not really connect with 9. And so that's sad. That's sad. And the thing is like, there's so much, I can't tell you how many messages I get from people. Like, I know you guys are so opinionated and stuff, but it's just like, it's so overwhelming sometimes, and everybody's just like, well, you gotta make sure you give 12 a fair chance. Well, you gotta make sure this, and oh, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I'm gonna react how I react, and that's what it is. Let me just be clear about that. The thing is that, like, but that is sad. And the thing is that you guys knew when you were saying goodbye to 11. For the most part. For the most part. There's probably a couple of you maybe didn't, or you watched the show after, whatever. But for the most part, you guys knew. And I'm still in mourning. I lost my baby, and I can't take it. So, there's that. Yeah. Anyway. But, I mean, I'm not going into the 8th season saying, I'm gonna hate this, fuck this, you're not Matt Smith. No. I mean, I knew the deal, like, that 12 was coming at some point. I knew who 12 was. So it's not like I'm just gonna be pissy about it. But as is most things, I don't know if I'm going to like him or not like him. I don't know. I haven't seen him. It's so funny. I'm getting so many messages from people, like, and I feel like pressuring me to like 12 or something, or like saying, like, I didn't like, well, it's mostly people who are being like, don't be unfair to 12. And it's just like, I cannot respond to you because I haven't seen it. I have no idea. So, anyway, sorry, that was a little tangent, but that's just, like, it's overwhelming. Oh, my Lord. So yeah, I think, but I do think, I will say, it would be really hard to top 11, but that doesn't mean I won't like 12. But I do think that it was just so sad, and I was feeling so emotional. I talked about it as best as I could at the end of the video, where, you know, 11 was just a great thing to watch and joyous thing to watch when I had one of the roughest years of my life. Just saying it like that. So, yeah. Okay. Jennifer Diaz asks, how do you feel about Matt Smith era as a whole? It's the best one. I said that, not her. And how did it change your view of the show? I actually liked it. What will the 12th Doctor need to do to win you over? Or conversely, what would be the worst thing he could be like for you? Interesting. Okay, so how did it change my view of the show? But I just felt like I just loved the characters more, with Eleven and Amy and Rory specifically. So there was something about the lead of the show being someone that I was loving and adoring, so to speak, with Eleven. And then I felt like the companions really fell into place for me. I did talk about a lot of why I love Eleven in the 11 times 11 made me love the Doctor video. By the way, I got like questions of people being like, are you gonna do it for the 10th Doctor? Like, they were like, 10 times 10 made you love the Doctor? And I'm like, I'd be reaching. But I think that I don't know. I don't know if it was the writing. I don't know what really changed for me. But I mean, the thing that always kind of stood out to me was just the way that Eleven interacted with people I preferred. That was a big change for me. And then a lot of these, I mean, just Matt Smith's portrayal was just brilliant in my mind and just really affected me very strongly. What will the 12th Doctor need to do to win you over? Conversely, what would be the worst thing he could be like for you? The worst thing that he could be like is trying to be exactly like 11. There's so many people who are saying, you know, like, you're not going to like 12 because he's not like 11 at all. But that would be the worst thing, as if somebody tried to be like 11's Doctor, but just wasn't Matt Smith. You get what I'm saying? Like, somebody trying to embody the same thing, but you're not him. I would have a hard time trying to cope with that. If 12 is really different from 11, that's actually probably a good thing. So then I won't be like comparing the two as much, and I will kind of think of him separately. What will the 12th Doctor need to do to win me over? I mean, I don't think I need to be won over. You know, it's just kind of like whenever a new character pops up in any show, sometimes I like them and sometimes I don't. And sometimes they're like Clara and they are dead middle. I have like zero opinion of really liking her or really not liking her. She's just there for me. She's too funny. I don't understand why I'm so like with her, but I am. I mean, so I don't know if there's anything, I don't really know how to answer, like, what would he need to do? I have no idea. I'm interested to see. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to kind of start, and I like that I keep starting, like, New Year's with new Doctors, and, like, starting new, yeah, it's kind of cool, because I feel like, for the most part, give or take, like, a month or so, I started... Wait, when did I start? Shoot. Doctor Who. 15? Yeah, so 15, like November, and then like, I did go a little bit past New Year's, I think, with the 9th Doctor. But then 2016 was mostly 10, and then 2017 was mostly 11, and 2018 will be mostly 12. Like a new year, new Doctor kind of feel. I like it. Yeah, so I mean, I think that, I don't know if he has anything to do to win me over. I don't like when the Doctor is really condescending. And like, I'm the Doctor, so I mean, that's one of the reasons that I loved 11 was he was so open to everybody, and he never really portrayed himself as being better than somebody just because. You know what I mean? Like, I'm smarter than you because I am. Like, and I kind of got that vibe a bit from 10, so I was not loving that. Yeah, and what's the worst thing he could be like for you is exactly like 11, because I would be like, you're not Matt Smith! That's when you would hear that from me. Like, if he was kind of had the same type of mannerisms and whatever, and it just didn't mesh as well, and tried to wear a bow tie. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Firefly24601 also asks, now that I've seen your reaction to Day of the Doctor, I want to know your thoughts and comments you had on the depiction of the Time War. I kind of wish that I saw more of it. Okay, there's another. Yeah, I wish I kind of saw more of it, but that's just like my own, like I kind of would just like to see how that kind of started and how it was playing out and stuff like that. But it's not like I really wanted to see more of it in Day of the Doctor. I think Day of the Doctor covered what it needed to, and I didn't need more of, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I would probably say, but I think that that's why, like it was so talked about for such a long time that I kind of wish that I saw a bit more than the teeny tiny glimpses that we did actually see. A little off topic, but feel free not to answer this, but have you decided yet if you're going to try to catch up and be current before the new episodes start in the fall? I will not be caught up by then. I don't know exactly when, but I have done like the math of it. I'm still doing one episode a week. I'm sticking with my schedule, and it is what it is. I have so many other shows that I do, and I have so many slots that I fill up. January is a little bit relaxed for me this year, and I made it that way, but then February, literally, I think until December again, I will be every week, hit the ground running, you know, and it's one episode every week, and that is what it's going to be. I know I'm going to get so many comments being like, catch up before the new season, and it's funny because I feel like I'm going to be nearing the end of, or going through season 10 when you guys are hitting season 11, so you guys are really going to be like, but come on, it's just one more season. Literally, this does take up a very, very large portion of my time, and I cannot do more than one a week. Just saying. Yeah. But no, so I won't be, I'm not saying you're saying that, by the way. I'm saying, like, I know that I'm going to get comments about that. But no, I will not be caught up before the new current season. And I don't even think I will be caught up for the Christmas special either. So, just so you know. Okay, and another question that you asked. Now that I've seen your reaction to Time of the Doctor, have you watched Time of the Doctor again? If so, what did you pick up from the subsequent viewings that you missed the first time around? I mean, only through editing have I watched it again. And then it's like it's a different mindset than when you're watching it. You're kind of focused on certain things that are not, you know, you're just focused on editing and getting everything right, and it's not entirely. So I don't know if I really picked up on anything. I mean, I definitely picked up on the fact that, like, it seemed like 11's last episode, though I wasn't really thinking in that mindset. Like, you know, they were bringing back kind of the silence and the crack, and they were really trying to do the best that they could for an homage for that. So I feel like it's much more obvious that it's his final episode on a rewatch than it was the first time. So Anna DiCaprio asks, Day of the Doctor. Okay, what did you think of the explanation of the Time War and the Doctor's moral dilemma? I mean, I loved that they went to the Time War and they were talking about that and everything. And I loved that they had the War Doctor see 10 and 11 and what happened to them because of the actions that, I mean, he has yet to take. But I really, really, really liked that a lot. And yeah, I mean, the moral dilemma stuff is always my favorite stuff in these shows. I just still love it, love it, love it. And whenever they can really focus on it, it's so crazy and great. And I love it. Was there anything you wish was done differently? No, I don't think so. I'm trying to remember everything that happened. I didn't like the Zygons. They were gross. You know, I think that it was, no, I think it was really great. I liked that they brought back 10, but I also liked that they made sure that it was like 11 special. Like they didn't have 10 overtake 11 in the plot line and stuff. And so I think everything was done really, really well. I liked how they executed everything, and I liked the last shot and everything. What did you think of John Hurt's Doctor and his performance? Amazing. I don't know John Hurt that well, besides like one other thing I saw him in, so, or maybe two. So people, it was funny because they're just like, it's John Hurt. I'm like, I don't really know who that is, so. But he's a great actor, and he was wonderful. Yeah. Do you wish you could have gotten to know him more? Yeah. I want to see a mini-series or something about the Time War and what he was dealing with all that time. Like, I really want to see more of it. I'm just saying. That quote, "The man who regrets and the man who forgets," makes me think about how soldiers suffering from PTSD can react to their past differently from other soldiers. Some might feel remorse, while others may go into denial and pretend everything's okay. I know you know more about the military soldiers and their lives than I do, so I'm wondering what your thoughts on how this quote aligns the Doctor with soldiers today. That is a beautiful and wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. I just was talking about PTSD. Rewind this video to the Punisher part where I pretty much cried. Well, I think it's a lot more complicated than just, there's not just a couple of ways that you can react to a traumatic event. I feel like it's something that kind of stays with you. And I feel like they were trying to really portray that. And I do like, and I will say, I feel like when they talk about, you know, the man that regrets and the man that forgets, it is different ways of coping with loss, but I think there was different losses. I think, you know, the man that regrets probably had a bit to do with, you know, Rose and Donna. Martha was fine. She ended up with Mickey. She's the best. She hit the jackpot. But, and then, you know, the man who forgets, I liked that they did kind of talk about that, because it did seem that kind of like Matt had, or, you know, 11 had kind of dealt with things very differently, and kind of in a sense of going into a denial mode. When it comes to you having to do things, whether it's for the greater good, whether it's just something that you have to do, that is something that otherwise you wouldn't. So otherwise, there's probably a moral. Every single person is different, and every single person deals with situations like that differently. When you think about like a horrible act, say like killing someone, there's a lot of people who probably can't get that image out of their head, right? But then there's also people who, and I think those people may be a little more kind of lead from their heart a little more. Whereas I think there's some people, if you say that person was trying to kill you, they're trying to kill your friends, and you kill them to stop them from doing that, right? There are some people who lead from you know, with logic a little more, and they say, oh, okay, well, I had no other choice. So they don't live in that moment as much as maybe somebody else does. So I'm just talking about like what I know of PTSD. And the thing that I love about like a lot of the shows that I really, really love, you know, Walking Dead is my favorite show, and I'm not going to talk about spoilers, so you don't have to. But the one thing that the show does is it takes situations like that, or like horrible things, and they show how every single person reacts to it, and it's just this array, and that show does such a great job of showcasing every single person and how they are coping with the things that they have to do in the new world that they live in. So I think Doctor Who with this, it was touching on it a little bit with that quote, and I loved it, and I love that it's you know, how do you cope with it? That's my favorite stuff. Deep down in your soul character examination is some of my favorite things about shows, and if that's a really high aspect of the show, then I'm a big fan of it. And that's what I really, really love, that they kind of touched on it briefly. They had so much to accomplish in that special, but I do think that, you know, the PTSD of all of that stuff is really, can be very obviously traumatic. And yeah. I really hope, like, moving forward, there's some good portrayals of how the Doctor feels about soldiers. Anyway. Because you should sympathize. Anyway. Okay, so Time of the Doctor. I know this episode broke your heart and hurt you very much. Yes, I'm so sorry that you watched this for the first time. What did you think of his last speech, the fall of his bow tie, and the musical score in the background? I can't say I remembered too much about the musical score in the background because I was, you know, trying to cope with all of the tears and the crying, and I'm sure it was loud. It's a weird... Sometimes when I get that emotional during a reaction, there was not to go back to this, but there was an episode of The Walking Dead where I really think I blacked out. I watched my reaction after. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, I'm insane. And I felt kind of similar, where it was like I was trying so hard to be in the moment. His last speech was beautiful. I was sorry, I'm gonna cry. It was so perfect. Just as somebody who I feel like I'm going through a lot lately, and I'm trying to figure out. Some years we have stuff that goes on we don't have much that goes on in our life, you know. Some years kind of the year comes and goes, and I mean, stuff happens, but it's not that significant. And I feel like this last year for me was just like a lot of stuff went on, and I had to go through a lot of personal issues with myself. And the whole, like, remembering who you once were, and if you have to change, and it's okay, like, and it was great. Like, it was kind of, I mean, I was sad because I was, like, losing my honey, but, like, it made me feel hopeful, you know, like, he was like, it's okay, because, you know, things happen. So, yeah. I did not like when he took the bow tie off, because I was just, like, too emotional. And I was like, no, but I don't think I would have liked it. I will say I don't think I would have liked it if I saw, like, Peter wearing the bow tie. Like, stop. No. Sir. So that was emotional. Oh, God. I'm gonna get allergies because I started crying. I think I'm allergic to life. Okay. Was it everything you wanted for his last moments? Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's part of me that would have loved him to regenerate with Amy and Rory, because I feel like that's his family, but he did get a vision of Amy, I guess, so I think that's good. But you know, there's a part of me that says, like, I wish his last moments would have been with them. You know what I mean? It's a very slim thought, but his words were really perfect, and the fact that they brought Amy back was just, that was something really special, I gotta say. Now that you've finished the specials, do you have any new thoughts about Clara? That you've seen her save the Doctor once again? Are you excited to see her in season 8? God, I don't know. I'm so Clara. It's my like motion for Clara. She's a middle of the road Clara. I mean, it's sweet. I think she's sweet. I think she's cute. I just don't personally have a connection. Like, I like her relationship with the Doctor. I think it's really sweet. And I'm really excited to see her, like, going forward and stuff. But, yeah. That, I think I have a, you know, like, I'm apprehensive about going forward just because of the sheer fact that I'm like, well, I don't love, I would feel more confident if I loved Clara going forward. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, oh my god, I'm so excited, because I would still have Clara, even though it's a different Doctor. I would still, you know, but because she's so middle of the road for me, I'm like, oh god, I really hope I like the Doctor, and I really hope that I grow to love Clara even more. I don't dislike her. I think she's great, but it's just, she's no Amy Rory, she's no Donna, she's, you know, Mickey. So, you know what I mean? So, I mean, but I think I could get there. It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. And I can't really tell you why I don't have that deep. Maybe you guys have more insight into that than me. Like, why am I not taken to her right away? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Okay. So, Paul Hayes asks, Doctor Who, but also broadens out into a general question. So, this is, in your Day of the Doctor full reaction, I noticed that you looked really quite genuinely pissed off at the gag about why the Americans can't be allowed to have time travel. I know you've commented before that you have resting bitch face, I do, which sometimes leads to people think you're annoyed at things when you're not, but I didn't ever recall seeing you looking so angry at anything in an episode of Doctor Who before. You should watch the Sontaran stratagem. I hope you weren't too upset by it. This leads me to my more general query, if that's permissible. Sometimes I don't recall seeing in any of your videos, although you may have covered it in one and I haven't seen, is any observations you might have the differences between British and American shows that you watch? Do you think there's any generalizations you notice the differences between dramas made in one country or another? What about the American set episodes of Doctor Who and Black Mirror? Do they get it right, do you think? I know particularly early on in Doctor Who's return, the American set episodes such as Dalek and Daleks in Manhattan two-parter used to come in for criticism from American fans on message boards, the quality of accents. But that's something I've noticed but that's not something you noticed you mention at all. And of course, I know that your favorite show stars a British actor putting on an American accent. It's true. Just basically any observations of the culture of production you noticed in the British shows you watch would be interesting, I think. All right, that is quite a question. So, I believe I was really pissed off. I don't really remember it. One of my friends also mentioned to me, like, you look pissed at that comment, which I probably was. Again, I don't entirely remember it, but, you know, it's so funny, and I always talk about this, but, you know, a lot of things I get influenced by interactions that I have with you guys, and I cannot tell you how often, I won't say attacked, I don't feel like I've ever felt attacked, besides maybe that one, but where I'm criticized or I'm put down in some way because I'm an American. And because you're American, then A, B, and C. And that comes out a lot. First of all, I just want to say, America's a big place and the politics are all over the place. So whatever view, I don't know, I'm not even going to get into that. It is offensive sometimes to me. Oh, I don't want to get into this. I don't know. Having a moment. It can be offensive to me. I think I'm just going back to that stupid fucking episode in season 4 where I was really not happy about the fact that the doctor was such an asshole to a soldier, saying like, if you're a soldier, then that means you're a murderer and you're a bad person. And it just really bothered the fuck out of me. And when I voiced that opinion, I got attacked for being an American, and I got attacked for like thinking that like soldiers are more than just like, you know, they're people. So the generalization that every single American is a gun-toting, like, you know, asshole who likes to murder people, I get offended by. So yeah, I was probably pretty pissed on. I just got really emotional, I'm sorry. But I think it gets me more emotional. I'm trying to just move past this. I think it gets me more emotional and offended in that sense because of the fact that, like, I hear it so much. And it's just like, well, you're American, so you're obviously an asshole. Like, I get that a lot. And the whole, like, yeah, you should not be allowed to have time travel. I don't even know what was said, but it was probably something to the effect of, like, Americans are all idiots and violent. I don't know. That seems to be the perception. I don't know. Anyway. I just give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. I just needed to. Sorry, I didn't know that like would have upset. You know what? I'm exhausted from everything. I'm really tired, so I think I'm just like on an emotional edge. But yes. So to answer your question, I'm sure that really did offend me. And it happens. And you know what? It's such a fine line because it was like making a, I think it's the seriousness of it all, because there was the one, oh god, what was it? I think it was the Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon. And they were like, they're all at the White House and like everybody had the guns pointed at them, and they were like, I don't remember exactly what the joke was, but it was like, oh, they're not gonna shoot, and they're like, but they're Americans, and everybody's like, oh god, like that didn't bother me because it was kind of making light, and I understand like but I feel like sometimes it's just like an intentional jab that, and it just makes me feel like we all get grouped up into one. Oh god, I just disregard everything I just said. I don't know. I don't like talking about this. I mean, I like talking about it, but I don't think I'm very good, because I love this question, because I feel like it's letting me like actually explain myself a little bit when it comes to that, but I also don't know if I'm saying it in the right way. So, yeah. Anyway, okay, so, what is it? Any observations you might have, the differences between British and American shows that you watch? I don't watch a ton of, let me see, what do I watch in British shows? I mean, Doctor Who, Black Mirror, Sherlock, Downton. I watched Misfits for a couple of seasons. I'm trying to think if I've watched any other. I don't think there's any, I don't know if I can, you know, I've gotten asked this question a lot, and they're like, what do you notice the difference between American TV and British TV, like I think I notice like a lot of reappearance of a lot of actors in British TV. Like I feel like there's just one general pool of actors and you all pick from the same. That's kind of funny. But other than that, I don't really think that there's anything that different, so to speak, or any generalizations I can make about one or the other. So, and the American set episodes of Doctor Who and Black Mirror, which were the ones for Black Mirror that were American? Nosedive. That one was like my favorite episode of Black Mirror, right? That was American. So I really like that one. I feel like Black Mirror, there's always something weird with the world. Because like Nosedive wasn't an exact representation of technically America. What else? I'm trying to think. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't entirely know if there's... It's kind of hard to gauge for Black Mirror because it's very... The stories are very different, I feel like. And then Doctor Who. Yeah, I mean, so for Daleks in Manhattan, I mean, I got a kick out of it. I thought it was hilarious that, like, they were like, "Use guys." Like, the accents were terrible, but it was funny. I don't know. It didn't bother me. It was so New York. And it seems, yeah, I mean, it seemed like how somebody would interpret New York at that time. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, the episode just, I felt like wasn't that great in the grand scheme of things, but it was, like, I didn't really mind the accents. I mean, they were over-exaggerated, not that great, but, you know. There was a couple of other American episodes of Doctor Who that I really liked. Like I said, the Impossible Astronaut Day of the Moon, I think, was mostly in America, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really, really well done. I didn't mean to cry. I'm really sorry. That's what happens when you're tired and you try to film videos when you should be on vacation from it. But yeah, I think that, like, that's just my own personal experience with my channel. And so I already get a hefty dose of people telling me how I see things because I'm American. I love it when people like tell you how you interpret things and what you believe because you're an American. It's fun. I love it. And I'm proud to do my closing statements on this whole thing. Because I'm proud to be an American, and I'll always be proud to be an American. Currently, we have some very serious issues that I don't entirely like to talk about, because I mean, but, yeah, I mean, shit's bad, but it doesn't mean I'm not proud from where I come from. I wouldn't want to be from anywhere else. That's my story. Okay, and Jojo in Space asks, I might be a little late with this, but I thought I might just drop some questions anyway. Okay, so what was the moment that you really connected with the 11th Doctor as your Doctor? Was it a specific moment already in his first episode, or was it more gradual? Well, I think the first episode is probably the best showing of the first episode of a Doctor that I've seen thus far. So I was already like, this is good. I don't think I was entirely sold yet, but I was like, I am kind of loving it, and I like it a lot, and I kind of like him. I was a little weird. I remember feeling very strange about the whole, like, him throwing her plates and stuff. I was like, that's rude. But maybe that was just post-regeneration stuff. Was there a moment? I mean, my biggest moment was the Vincent and the Doctor ending, but I believed he was my favorite Doctor even before that. I think just overall, his relationship with Amy really helped me appreciate him as the Doctor. So I don't know if there was a very particular moment. I think the first episode helped. I think the ending conversation between him and Amy during The Beast Below, which I love that episode. I think it's really, really good and underrated. And then, you know, I mean, to this day, season 5 is my favorite by far. It has not been topped. And I think a big portion of that was just the way that the Doctor handled situations and how he related to Amy and then Rory later on, and I like that a lot. And I just really loved that aspect of him. It felt like he was in it with Amy. It felt like he was family with Amy. And it wasn't like the Doctor and his companion. I'm not trying to say that in like a degrading way, but it's just like, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but it just felt like it's just us. There's no like, I'm the Doctor and you're somebody else. It's we're a team and we're a family. And that kind of mentality that he had and kind of grasped onto, I felt pretty early on, was why I loved him so much. But yeah, I would say it was, I will say it was gradual in that sense, but like in his first episode, it did him all sorts of favors because like he had everything. I mean, really, he had this sweet, cute conversation with a little girl, and then there was this crack in the wall, and it was like, and he was kind of quirky, and you know, he did what he had to do. He had some great interactions with both Amy and Rory. That was cool. And then at the end, he did his boss ass bitch moment where he called back the Atraxi and he was like, bitch, fuck you. That's not what he said. It was much more eloquent than that, but that's my subtitles for it. And it was really great. That episode was just really, really good and one of my favorites of all time. So I would say, yeah, it was probably, and now it's funny because fun little tidbit. Whereas I feel like most people, when they go and they rewatch End of Time, cry. The last scene. Because Wilf had me in tears. Always has me in tears in that fucking episode. But anyway, you know, the ending to End of Time. And when I rewatched it to do my RTD era ranking up the episodes and stuff, oh my God. It was like the most strange emotional feeling that I felt, because it's like you're watching a scene that you know you're supposed to be sad about, and 10's pretty dramatic and is like, I don't want to go, and all I could think when I was watching it was like, my honey's coming. Like, I was so happy. I was like, here, he's coming. And the first few moments with him, I was overcome with emotions on that rewatch. And I was just like, and it made me want to watch all of season 5, like, right away. Like, it was just, it made me feel really happy. Which I think is an episode that most people feel really sad about, but that scene, at least. But I was really happy about it. How did editing Time of the Doctor go, and were there things you noticed or connected that you didn't the first time around? Well, I kind of already answered the Time of the Doctor with noticing. Obviously, it seemed much more like it was 11's last episode, like when, you know, during that. But editing was not fun because I like cried again. It's really bad. There's a couple episodes of shows where it's like I cry all again with editing, and you just don't want to relive it. There's a couple of episodes. I wouldn't say like Doctor Who had that in this. What I'm about to say is like sometimes there were like some scarring episodes and like some scenes that are pretty disturbing. You're like, I really don't want to watch it again, but you have to because you're editing it. Like that happens. I feel like that happened with a particular couple of scenes with like The Americans and stuff like that. Walking Dead, stuff like some stuff you're like, oh, I don't want to watch that again. But I think for me it was so weird because I was feeling emotional, and I did set aside like a whole day just to focus completely on Time of the Doctor. And Time of the Doctor and Day of the Doctor, I was not like trying to rush. I put aside like whole days where I could just sit and edit them and try to get them absolutely perfect. And it was a bit difficult for Time of the Doctor to kind of figure out where I wanted to put the picture in and not, and all of this stuff. And it was what it was, but that was really kind of rough. And then just rewatching his regeneration, I just sat there and I cried all over again. It was funny. I think I watched it all the way through, my reaction with the picture-in-picture, and then I had to go and chop it up a little bit. It was sad. It was really sad. Doctor Who December was amazing, and thank you so much for that. Well, thank you. I was curious, since you talked about watching Classic Who, out of the classic Doctors you've seen or glimpses and knowledge you have about them, what do you think of them thus far? Okay, so I don't know too much. I do know that people say that 2 is like 11, so I'll probably like him. 3, I am ready for. Why? Because 3 looks like he slays. He's got a cape. I heard that he kind of likes wine. Was that the one that I heard likes wine? I don't know, but like I'm all about 3. Like I feel like 3 is gonna be my guy. I know Tom Baker 4 is regarded as the best one, so that would be really interesting to go through. I know a lot of people who like 5. I don't know much about 6 or 7. I got a glimpse of 7, obviously, in the TV movie, but I don't know too much about 6 or 7, so I don't know how to feel about that. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm excited about it, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to see. I feel like I'm really gonna like 3, if I can bet. I feel like I'm gonna like 3 a lot. If I'm basing just on looks, which is kind of all I can base them on. Anyway, so, just so you guys know, about my whole idea for Classic Who, and if people are wondering, like, why I went with Sarah Jane, I didn't get as much backlash about that as I thought. I got a couple of comments, I feel like, and honestly, I didn't read... Did I read the comment section for that? Maybe I did for a bit, and then I stopped. I have no idea, but, like, I thought I was going to get a lot of backlash saying, like, I'm going to watch Sarah Jane, and people are going to be like, why not Torchwood? Why not this? Why not Classic Who? Blah, 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 you know, like, all that stuff. The reason I picked Sarah Jane is because it fit into the slot that I needed it to fit into. Like I said, I plan out my shows for the year well in advance. I have to come up with a schedule to make sure that everything gets out at a certain time. I can't just wing it. That's not the type of person that I am. I have to kind of come up with where certain slots are going to go so that I don't overwork myself and that I can get out good reactions for you and not, you know, whatever. Anyway, I really, so when I did pick Sarah Jane, it fit, and I particularly believe, I actually think I like Sarah Jane as a character more than I like Jack. However, I do believe I probably like Torchwood a little bit more, so I'm kind of saving that for last, you know, or second, which I will get to it. Class I haven't even gotten to chronologically, so that's not even, but I'll do that as well. So, and the thing is with Classic Who, I cannot start Classic Who until I am fully committed to Classic Who. There's no way, I know people in my comment sections, there's no way I could start Classic Who and go with it and this, that, and the other thing and keep going or whatever and then just stop when I ran out of the time that I can use. So that's why I definitely went with a spin-off as opposed to just starting Classic Who and then stopping. No matter how many times I would say it, like if I said it in every single reaction, people would be like, you know, as soon as I would stop when I had more shows coming in, people would be like, where's Classic Who? Where's this? So I always think I have so much more time than I actually do. It's insane. But, just so you guys know about that. I will be getting to Classic Who. I feel like what will happen is I will start it when I catch up to Doctor Who. And that'll be like, it'll kind of take the place of Doctor Who once I'm caught up with that. That's kind of what I think is going to happen with that. And then the spin-offs I'll kind of go through at, you know, like I said, sometimes I get hit. I can't decide TV schedules. Sometimes I get hit with a lot of shows coming up all at once. Last spring, if any of you guys remember that, holy, I wanted to murder myself. I was so exhausted by the end of it because I had like a show every day. It was like I had Agents, Prison Break, Leftovers, Twin Peaks, Fear the Walking Dead, Doctor Who, Iron Fist. I think there was even more than 7, like more than every day there was a week. And it was like, I think I postponed Iron Fist for a time. I don't even remember. It was a mess. And like, because all of my shows came back all at the same time. Sometimes that happens. So I kind of have to, I kind of gauge when things are going to come back. I don't have official dates on certain things. Like The Americans just got announced and I was like, thank you, because it helps me schedule things out. But yeah, like things like that, I have to kind of, so that's why I picked Sarah Jane, because it fit perfectly into the slot that I needed something to fit into. You didn't ask that, I just sort of was explaining. But anyway, that's about it. This is a long fucking monthly chat, but you guys had a lot of questions, so I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye!